Hello everyone, today we'll be covering a match from Valhalla again in the Reservoir League. I hope everyone is ready. It's going to be an interesting match, probably less fun than the other one, but still let's gonna enjoy and watch how the two-time champions are going to fight tonight. Or today, depending on where you live. How is everyone doing? It's 42 seconds before the match starts. And it seems so far it is a 28 against 17 and 16 match. This is starting to look like a bloodbath, but you never know. Alright, it is 10 seconds for the match to start. Here we go. And they are going super hard already in the processing plant 3. And the two processing plants plus solar. Looks like almost all the buildings are already being dominated. The game barely started, and already in 1 minute, Val already took over every single building possible. Will they be able to hold it, or will the buildings flip? We'll see. There's a bunch of attacks incoming in the top right, as you can check from the minimap. They seem to be trying to fight also for solar, but I don't think that as the way are with the amount of people joining the rallies, they're gonna be able to. Will they bounce or not? I guess we'll find out. Incoming rally. I am actually excited to see if any of the buildings are gonna flip over or not. There's a bunch of singles coming with the rally, and Solar's probably gonna be deciding. This team is actually doing a great move trying to fight for Solar at the moment. Because in the other match that we had, Solar was not a big point, so every time that it would be able to flip a building, Val would have enough time to actually took it over before having a lot of pressure and control. So this team trying to fight for Solar is actually a much more smarter move. That being said, it seems like they're lacking firepower to bounce him off. Currently, it is 30 against 24. It started as 28 against 16. A few more players, we're gonna see if it's gonna make a difference with the rallies joining. It seems like Schneiser is already gonna take this processing plant. One of the buildings flipped, however. Let's see for how long. Hello, Rosanna. Thank you. Thank you. I am actually only casting this match. I am not playing it. I'm just narrating and casting for you guys so you guys can actually enjoy a match from the two times champion Valhalla at the moment. And now with the control of Solar and a bunch of other buildings, they start ahead with the first occupation and total occupation bonuses, which is gonna make it a little bit harder for them to turn over, due to the fact that these bonuses is gonna give a lot of points for Valhalla to be ahead. This is going to be interesting, however. Looks like they're fighting mostly for the top right part of the match. There has been a back and forth in some of the buildings in there. Looks like they're trying to relocate outside of the top left area to put some pressure in there. I do fear, however, if they are doing that, they're gonna put a lot less pressure in the top right. And this basically will mean that they're not gonna be able to keep flipping those buildings. And as it turns out, they just were taken back. Let's see if they can flip back again, or if they're just gonna try to keep fighting for the top right in here in the processing plant 3. Hello, Arturia. And right now, they've made room for Schneiser to join in at the last second to put some stats in there. This is probably going to make them bounce. This was an actually very good move. They did the bunny game to try to hop a top player. It still was not enough to bounce them back. Probably gave them a lot more damage than they would have without Schneiser in there. With only 400,000 troops inside, will they be able to basically kick them off with solos? Or will they have to rally? They do, however, have a few minutes to rally them. Looks like they are being able to put some other pressure in the top right as well. The red building just flipped. So far, it seems like this match is going to be basically reduced to a fact of them fighting for 2 buildings for now. But in 4 more minutes, actually 4 minutes and 51 seconds at the 45-minute mark, center is going to open. And when center does open, this match is going to get a little bit more spicy. Thank you for the badge, Jagadan. Thank you. There is a 3-minute delay, so you guys will not be. I will not be reading chat as much. This is not my match, Piggy. I am just casting for the 2-time champion Valhalla at the moment. And looks like WUR is actually going to take the building in the top right. It's going to give them the first points of the match. Besides water gathering, the first points from buildings. And the first total control of buildings from them. Because regardless of what people know, you do get points every time that you have a complete control of a building. You're going to be able to check that in real time right now because their score is 703. As soon as they have complete control in around 20 seconds. And there you go. As you could see personally yourselves, even though it was not the first control of the match, they still got a bunch of points. The in-game descriptions are not exactly accurate in this aspect, so it is a misconception from players that you cannot get points every single time that you have full control of a building. Which is why flipping a building, unless you can hold it, or can at least stop the enemy from holding, usually can actually hurt your team more than help. Because not only you're collecting water that it can get it back, but it can also get first occupation bonuses every single time that they take control of that building. So in 2 more minutes right now, we're gonna have opening of the center. And we're gonna see what strategy each team is gonna make. Are they gonna move some of their top players there and then leave some of the buildings undefended? Or are they just going to rush in? And depending on the strategy that each team uses, you can do some interesting counterplays in here. Because assuming that some of the top players will leave, if you time a rally into those other buildings that they are in, you can actually put some pressure in them for not to leave. All eyes right now are on the top right building, even though that is not what is being covered right now in this stream. Are they going to be able to have full control of that building as well? That would put them at 1,800 score per minute. And this is the interesting part about Reservoir Raid and Reservoir League, is that it starts to get up to a point where whenever the match keeps going, you keep thinning and thinning your forces, and by doing so, what ends up happening is that the match starts to get being more about organization and uses than just pure stats. Because being able to move around and have your spenders be at the right moment at the right time starts to be kind of like a dance of counterplays of how can you get people to be at the right place at the right time. And with only 4 seconds to open, Val flips all the buildings back. How is WUR going to react to this? Are they going to fight for some of the smaller buildings? Are they going to still be fighting for those buildings? So far, it seems like they went for Dav Compound. There is some fighting in the top right with the visual issue that you have sometimes that make the buildings as the side of the moon. I think all of us had that issue with more competitive matches. Building can either get too big or too small. Still a lot of fighting going in the top right. But seems like treatment center was flipped this time. Both treatment center in the top right and the top right and the processing plant in the top left were flipped. Seems like the fighting is gonna keep continuing in those 2 buildings for the rest of the match. They're trying to at least deny Val of those points. Although the match in itself is not being very competitive at the moment due to the difference in score, these shoe buildings at least are being fun to watch. OGH is doing a good job of actually holding the buildings. OGH, which is actually a viewer of the channel. Hello, OGH, when you watch this in the VOD, is the one that is holding the top left building so far. Looks like there's gonna be an incoming rally in the top left. Toku just turned around the building just to be taken back by WUR. Hey, we all hate when that happens. We're having some technical issues of getting data sync for trying to get the cannon to be used. And Toku is starting another rally in the top right. Will Toku be able to flip it again? It did, and this time seems like Toku will be holding at least for a while. In more 4 minutes, the water tanks are gonna be opening, and when the water tanks do open, we're gonna have another time that the forces are gonna be spreading even more thin. This will be another opportunity for WUR to keep putting even more pressure in these shoe buildings. Looks like there's a good chance of Toku actually holding the building, and holding the building gives them even more points to be ahead. Seems like OGH is gonna be holding strong in this building. And Toku took full control in the top right. And this is what I meant. So after Toku took full control, we're actually flip the building back, and if Toku can take control again of that building, they're gonna score points another time. We'll see if that's going to happen. If it does, it's gonna put them even further behind. And it looks like Monkey King Arthur actually was able to flip the top left building. Will OG be able to take it back? Will they able to be getting the other? Looks like no water puddles were gathered. That insane rally cap of 1.4 million battle power. Sorry, 1.4 million troops. Seems like top right was flipped again. Will they be able to control it again? 15 more seconds and the water tanks are going to show. What is going to change is we're going to go for the water tanks. Are they gonna keep putting pressure in this top in these two buildings at the top? At this point in 36-minute mark, 3 water tanks show up, and there is not enough tanks to actually justify usually sending players directly to them, although it is a strategy that can be used. But things starts to get more interesting because it's even less marches that are behind. Usually a few members, if someone relocated, can relocate to respond, and then they will speed in to join the rallies from the distance of where they are. And that seems to be the case here. And hello, General, how you doing? And this seems to be like they're gonna be more fighting and more pressure in other buildings. Nice wiping of waters of both teams down there. There are some water tanks being fought here. This means that there is an advantage to the team that is close to the tanks, as they can send multiple marches as long as they have enough troops. It seems like now, since they can't fight for two buildings, they're putting pressure in the two treatment centers instead of a treatment center and a processing plant. So I think that this is a smarter move. Right now, they have no buildings that they are completely holding. but they do have one water tank, so they are scoring some points at the moment. Will we see the dream of 500,000 points in a match? Will this be the match? Sleepy JJ, this is state free Reservoir League. I'm putting busy. So right now, Val might be able to control all the buildings again. And most of the water tiles. 2, now 1 water tiles is in control from the red team. And now 0. How can you usually check that? You usually can check according to the score on the top part of the screen, because the top score, if it's not holding a building, have only multipliers of 240, and you can do that math to actually check how many buildings are, how many water tanks they're holding at the moment. Seems like they are fiercely being fought because the numbers are being changed at every second almost. WUR is fighting tooth and nail with everything they can for the buildings that they are. I find that completely commendable. And right now, after flipping the top right building, they are trying to get some pressure here in munitions. Will they get reinforcements in time? Because it does seem that they do have the stats to hold it, or else they wouldn't be taking this many attacks, but eventually you run out of troops. Either from one side or the other. Looks like there's going to be a fight in these water tanks. It's going to be interesting to see how they're going to react. And looks like a double attack bounce in the bottom. Poco is going to try to hold that building for more occupation points again. You never know until the end, Sleepy JJ. "30 seconds for them to have full controls." Looks like some of the players actually quit. Or did they? No, they didn't. It was my bad. They started with 18, and I don't remember if they went to 26 or not. But a lot of them are behind the line. Participation makes a huge difference, but the fact that we're doing these matches on Friday can actually hurt a lot of the teams that want to try to participate. It takes a huge commitment for you to have your team to actually be able to have 30 people to participate in a Friday match. Is this gonna be a stable take in the bottom left? Bunch of attacks are pulsing. I know, Artbag was able to take it. Valhalla took it back from what it looked like was a barrage of singles plus a rally. There's a lot of pressure in every single point. Looks like Valhalla is trying to take everything they can and not leave anything in the board. And now, as the other water tanks should spawn, that may be the case. You get 3 water tank spawns, one at 36, one at 26, and one at 16. Every time that the water tanks spawn, they spread thinner and thinner the forces of both teams, so they have to fight in multiple fronts. And right now, we're gonna see if the red team is going to actually put more pressure in the buildings, or they're gonna give them the buildings and trying to fight for the tanks. At this point, the match is pretty much decided, so I believe that they're trying to capture as many points as they can at the moment here. It seems like they're still putting pressure into both the top left, bottom right, bottom left and top right buildings. A barrage of hits already hit bottom left in there with no avail to be able to bounce them off. Hello to McDonald fan. Hey Mocha, how you doing? Looks like they're going for some burning instead of fighting for the tiles. That relocation put more pressure in the tiles that were not being fought for. As they all left, and someone now can either fight again. But it seems like if they are sending tiles for to fight, and they're probably gonna take a few hits from with one less march in their building, and they're gone. Just as the South Park meme goes, and they're gone. Smart move. They're probably gonna be zeroed if they stay in there. Seems like pressure is being put now in the bottom right section. $344 March recalls. Hey. This guy is my version with March recalls that I am with advanced relocators. There you go, Torba is gonna take the hit, and looks like Monkey King is actually burning some of the joiners in there. Probably relieve some of the pressure from the tiles and the attacks. As most of the members from the red team are behind the line, having less people to be close to them, to the buildings to fight, is gonna alleviate a lot of the pressure from this match. It's gonna put them even farther ahead at the moment. Looks like Monkey King is both putting pressure in the building and the players that are in there to try to fight back for it. Solar was flipped for some of the water that are in the match. It seems like the red team is gonna get most of the puddles in here. Monkey King uses the repositioning also to fight for the puddles and to put pressure by attacking the members. Looks like Val is starting to go super aggro right now. I do think they're trying to seal the final part of the game to not let them push and fight for anything that is still on the board. That's what I'll take it for the magazine. And processing plant flipped. What's gonna happen with the water here? Looks like a bunch of players are relocating to get some of the water tiles. That's 3.6 less water for Val in there in that building that was just flipped again. For those that don't know how the water puddles work, they are taken from your personal score if you are the one holding the building. So let's say the processing plant 1 was flipped. Valhalla would lose 12,000 score in the blue team. And then WUR would come in and they would be able to capture all that water and add 2,000 water if they capture every single puddle. So puddles come from your personal score and can be a huge tool to turn around a match if a match is decently close. So some of the strategies end up being built on top of that, and I've seen multiple matches be won just by flipping the buildings in the last 10 to 15 minutes and not neglecting the water puddles. I'd say there's probably around at least 80,000 water in all the buildings combined at the moment. I haven't done the math or I checked, but I think that's a pretty good number to bet on, considering due to how much time most of the buildings have not been flipped. $31, $44, $40, $47, almost $48. So plus 50 in there in total, and I don't know in the bottom right. Looks like it might be a little bit less than that. Closer to the between the 60 and 70 mark. If they were able to get every single water puddle, this match would be a lot closer. Looks like Schneiser is gonna help try to defend that building. And the final wave of water tanks is live. These now means that every single section of the map is gonna have in total 9 water tanks. This means that you need more than one player to gather all the water tanks in there regardless. So the water processing plant in the left side was just popped. And now it's a race for the water puddles. Red team is doing a great job with water puddles this match. $15 more minutes and 11,000 points so far. Again, will we get the dream of 500,000 points in this match? Don't know. I think this is the most entertaining part, is to try to make the bets and how far this score will go. Again, WUR is doing a commendable job of trying to fight back and to at least lower the difference in score. Seems like right now they're trying to flip every single building possible to reduce the difference in points. And they have been hopping around on buildings that have not been reset to try to reset them. We're almost at the end of the match, in a part where actually some of the first water tanks start to disappear, so a lot of the pressure from those water tanks are going to be reduced. And the match is going to consolidate a little bit more in fighting in buildings again for the last minutes. Looks like center was flipped. Both teams seem to be capturing water, although it seems like most of the bigger puddles are being got by the red team. Good job from the red team. It's like helipad was also flipped. Hello, Pella. There's a 3-minute delay. Nice having you here. So, seems like they are trying to fight also for some of the gathering nodes. Do they have the stats to hold them or not in this section? Because this is an interesting aspect as well, because if you are stronger and you try to target specifically tiles that your opponent holds, you're not only gaining points, but you're also denying the points of them holding them. This is valid not only for RR, but also other events where you can actually compete with tiles. Let's say in Mighty Mayhem for gathering tiles. So it's a double whammy of trying to get your points. The only problem with that is that if you do not have enough troops, you may put yourself in danger of being burned, like Schneiser here is coming for the burn. Red team is trying to respond to Schneider putting pressure to burn with another player. I do think that Schneider is probably going to try burning that player as well. This is going to be very interesting now to see the fights in these small water tanks. Are they going to try to... Yes. They are going to try to use the pressure to burn the players. Both Schneider and Monkey King are gonna... And they just did. Try to burn the players with what I have to try to pull them back from the water gathering nodes. $400,000 with 9 minutes to go and 11,000 per minute. It's starting to get close to see if we're gonna get the dream or not of 500,000 points. As you could see, Sleepy JJ, it's not as simple as just doing the math of how many points there are, because there are buildings that can be reset. Among other things, it can be denied for points, as well as some of the water tanks going away in a few minutes. So it's going to be a close call. Looks like they're still going to be putting some pressure in solar. Blood is trying to take Solar from Torbert and from a barrage of singles. Seems like all the singles were bounced. And there's another small skirmish in munitions at the moment. And they left. Dame Dulac. Is Dame? Yes, Dame is going for a burn. Seems like red team pushed a little bit farther back. With that treatment center at the top right. Don't know if they're gonna hold it, but they are definitely pushing back from trying to let them get to 500,000 points. Some small skirmishes in the water tank at the moment. And center was flipped. Three minutes for total control in the center. So 9.6 at the moment, 1,000 points for 4 minutes. Still gonna be a close match. As in close to the 500,000 points, to be clear. It seems like Val is not only listening to the match, but they also want to see if they can catch it as well, so... Seems like WUR is also responding with a lot of attacks. It probably is leaving that player a little bit vulnerable. And seems like Matra is going for the kill. Only a few more minutes until the match ends, and I think we are gonna get a 500,000 points. Red team so far fought very fiercely in every single place that they could. Seems like they were a little bit outmatched due to how the way the current system of matchmaking works in this match. That being said, they did very well. Considering that they put this much pressure in the match was actually refreshing to see. We're getting now to the final minute. It looks like it's 511,000 points. $5.15. Some of the water tanks already gone away. And end game at the end of the game. Pun intended. End game, this did a magnificent job of fighting. They still have a chance of qualifying. We'll see what's going to happen. Personally, from what I saw in the match, I think that they have a pretty good chance.